Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, and I'm doing a little bit of a rare pre-intro before the actual intro to this video because, of course, you clicked on that video, you know the title. This is all about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and where is the new info? And as of the time that we recorded this, a couple days ago, we had no idea when that new info was coming, but now we do because there's a Pokemon Presents on Wednesday, which we are both very excited about. We will, of course, be live reacting to that and then discussing it afterwards. So expect plenty of coverage from us. So if the framing of the conversation you're about to see seems outdated, it's because it is, but I still think that there's a lot of interesting conversation and predictions in there that's still worth putting up, regardless of the fact that we now know when the next batch of info is coming. So, sorry about the content being out of date. If you want to blame anyone, blame Tanner, because his Marvel video went up on Thursday when Pokemon was going to go up. So there's a whole big to do. You know how it is being a big time YouTuber like we are over here at Backlog Banter. But on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel, and we're here today to talk about something very near and dear to both of our hearts. That is Pokemon. But before we do, if you want to talk to us about Pokemon or anything else at all, join our Discord. But not only that, here's what I really want you to do.
Okay.
I want you to subscribe because we just crossed 400. Thanks
Yes,
for
we
400.
did. Hell yeah.
We're gonna do something probably or not, or we'll forget about it. We usually, more likely than not, we'll forget about it. But the point is, even over 400 subs, most of our views do not come from subs. We want to build the community out. So
Yes.
join the Discord and subscribe. I used to just
Yes.
want to plug the Discord hard, but now the subscription is important to me too. Like the video if you want. I don't really give a fuck about that. Dislike it if you think this plug is annoying. Engagement either way, so it benefits us.
Yes.
But Tucker, that's a YouTube thing. It's time to talk about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are releasing this November.
Yep.
We got a reveal trailer in Pokemon Presents. We got a random tweet with a release date. We got
and I think the box art maybe was also with
and
that.
the box art, yes.
Yeah.
We got a reveal trailer for the Nintendo Switch OLED, which had about 2 seconds of BDSP footage, which looked 10 times better than what we saw before.
Yep.
And then we got a tweet about the game using the exact same screenshots from the release date. So Tucker, what the fuck is going on?
This boggles my mind for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Not only because when I saw that reveal trailer, I was very personally underwhelmed by the game and have remained so. But also because the Pokemon Company is pretty good when it comes to consistent information about their games pre-release. We've gotten a lot of Pokemon games since I started paying attention to Pokemon games in the gaming industry and news and all that. One of my favorite things to follow is lead up to a Pokemon game where they're showing new information and like, this is what this town looks like. These are the new Pokemon. This is how it evolves. I mean, I love following Sun and Moon. They would drop those little trailers where it'll reveal like 3 or 4 Pokemon and like a gym leader or something, or like game mechanic. Same with Sword and Shield. They had great trailers for those games. There's a lot of information coming out about Pokemon games. This is just the exact opposite. Not only because it was announced in about the usual time slot for Pokemon games, but because we didn't even get the sort of mid-year bigger update on the game during the E3 season. We used to get Pokemon Presents or in a direct information about Pokemon games, but they have just kind of gone entirely silent on this, which is weird because I think this is the game that we need to see more of to really make it less underwhelming, because I think there was a subset of the community, and obviously I'm a little bit projecting because I found it to be underwhelming, but found that reveal trailer pretty underwhelming and confusing. It's made by a new team. I think there's a little more information required, but they've just gone silent. It's crazy, man.
The silence is one thing.
Yeah.
Another thing entirely is showcasing footage that looks significantly better with zero context.
Yes.
And then talking about the game afterwards without those updates.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, Tucker, they didn't accidentally put that footage in the Switch OLED trailer. It's not like they were like, oh shit, how did that get there?
Yeah.
That was there on purpose, right? And so when you start to contextualize that within no Pokemon Presents, as you said, when there was a lot of rumors that there were going to be, and arguably the need for one between this and Legends Arceus.
And the new Pokemon Snap updates. Unite, which has been going strong. There was Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2, all of the other projects. I would say Pokemon Sleep, but that's never coming out, so it doesn't matter. The point is there's a lot percolating that very easily could have been a presentation and should have been, because now we are sitting, and this is gonna stress you out, 3 months away from the release of this game.
And we know here the thing is we either know everything about the game or nothing about the game.
That's what really scares me.
Yeah.
Is this silence is quite deafening, surprising coming from a company that's
Yeah.
so usually very good, even if it's not great stuff, giving us consistent information about the games before release.
Yeah.
Sometimes to its detriment. I've always complained a little bit about they show too many areas, they show too many of the Pokemon that are in the game, and some of the best things when you get a Pokemon game is the thing that they didn't show off, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is really magical to discover this. But this game, from what we saw in the reveal trailer, a lot of my biggest issues with it come down on this update, at least from what we saw. This remake doesn't seem to have a lot of its own flavor. It doesn't seem to be taking advantage of the hardware or the updates to this series, and it doesn't have its own identity in that way. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe there's more to show. But the fact is they haven't done anything more to show, even just more footage, even that updated visual style. It's very strange, and I do hope that there's a content drop, information drop coming hopefully soon that does introduce things that give this its own identity, because from what we saw initially, this could be a very different sort of scaling experience than what we are used to getting from Game Freak. Of course, it's developed by someone else, but it feels kind of out of place.
My supposition, and I think your point about it being different from Game Freak is very important.
Yes.
Because I think that this game is maybe in jeopardy of getting delayed out of 2021. That is my thought. Now, not because Pokemon Company wants to give them more time, because we know that is not their MO, but because this is a studio who is known for doing support work and porting work.
Yes.
They're not known for doing from the ground up development. And so contextualize that in experience with COVID, and you start to wonder how far along the game really is, because we were concerned, as you were expressing, that there were no changes to the Diamond and Pearl experience when we saw that back in, I believe it was February or March. I don't remember exactly when it was.
There. April maybe.
And so now we know, based on that OLED footage, that, oh shit, maybe that was just really early. Sure, and maybe where we are now is significantly advanced. Maybe where we are now is not conducive for this game releasing in 3 months. Because a lot of people talk about, oh, in game dev, things get polished in the last 6 months. It comes together in the last 6 months. But you're telling me that the assets and the texture work and the lighting engine and all of that gets overhauled in the last 6 months? I don't know about that. I really get the sense that they might not be showing this because they might not know if they can even hit a November release.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, seeing those few seconds of footage, which if you go back and watch our reaction, we didn't notice in the moment. It's so fleeting on that, person playing in a thing that's sort of angled. And obviously that's not real footage running on the thing. They like overlaid it and whatever. We didn't even notice that. That's how little they wanted to draw attention to it. But there was clearly some intention there of, okay, it is going to look somewhat better, which for me is a big deal. It's because even if the game is 1-for-1 recreated with no modern mechanics or hardware updates or whatever, the fact that it looked really cheap and rushed in my eyes in that reveal trailer was the most worrying thing. And having those visuals look like a better color palette, better lighting, better texture work, modeling, all of that was very exciting to me. And when I saw the comparison, like, oh, okay, wait, never mind. This is actually a bigger deal than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see, even if it's not them revealing new mechanics or hardware updates or whatever, a trailer of the game, whether it be, a commercial with like 20 seconds of footage or something a little bit smaller, not intended for a big reveal, something that shows off the game in its current state. Because if we're thinking about how far is it along in production, and we got a tease of it being pretty significantly overhauled, oh geez, almost a month ago now. I think there could be something to show there that could appease the audience. And even if it doesn't have a release date in it, like something to hold us over or to refresh this in our minds. Because the craziest part is that this is still a Metroid, notwithstanding, one of the biggest releases of the year for Nintendo.
Probably the biggest release.
Yeah. I mean, Metroid's not going to sell as much as Pokemon, as much as that, much to our chagrin. But this being their biggest release and having no information is really wild. And I'd love to see them at least give it some sort of acknowledgement.
Yeah, I just think that it communicates that something's not right behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, we're not hearing any leaks about this game's status.
True.
And the Pokemon Company is notoriously very leaky.
Yeah.
Notoriously shit leaks all the time out of there. So the fact that we're hearing nothing about this game is very suspicious to me. And like you're saying, I think we need that trailer, because otherwise it is simply all rumor and speculation, and not even rumor, just speculation about the current state of the game.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of when you want to put the pedal to the metal and say, okay, this game's 3 months away. Let's get those trailers running on YouTube. Let's get those ads plastered all over the eShop and in the GameStop windows and everything. And
yep.
What are you going to do? You're going to put up how the game looked before in its janky state when it's not representative of where it is now? But are you going to show where it is now? Because is that going to belie that maybe the game's not ready? Part of me wonders if they feel like, okay, Arceus is coming in January, which is already a really weird time slot for a game of that scope.
Fucking weird. And are we going to talk about that in this video?
We certainly can. My thinking is, well, could maybe BDSP get bumped and Arceus just takes over, doesn't get moved up, but just, Pokemon's big releases in January.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to wonder, well, no, because the Pokemon Company wants money. That's all they give a shit about.
Yeah. They're not going to release 2 games around that same time.
Well, you're not going to release just one game after the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Because the holidays is where you push hardware, and then you push a lot of games, because the Pokemon audience is young, and young kids can't fucking buy anything for themselves in January. So you're gonna want that game in November. So can you even push it? I think that's part of the problem. And if you can't push it, you just kind of let Arceus ride. But if BDSP isn't done, is Arceus done? Because Arceus sure as shit looked a whole lot less done.
Yeah, I mean,
than this game did.
I was very underwhelmed by how BDSP looked when we saw it, but it looked functional in a way that Arceus looked like chopped together in a way that I don't think a lot of people were giving the credit that I think it deserves. Watching those Pokemon move at like a quarter of the frame rate that they probably should be, seeing really significant pop in, really bad distance rendering. I've been worried about that game since that first trailer. It's very cool conceptually, but it seemed a quarter baked. And so really, I think what we can, the ideal situation for all of this is they've gone silent because they're like, we showed this off way too early, and both these games need more time in the oven. Whether or not that means them forfeiting this holiday for this extra sales of Pokemon pushing alongside hardware, and hopefully, ideally, in my eyes, BDSP is January, February, taking that slot where Arceus was, and Arceus is summer or holiday 2022, and giving that game enough time to get a really big lead up, because I think it deserves it and could get that in terms of new information, of trailers of, hey, this is one of the big releases of the year. Pokemon's finally evolving, pun intended. But neither of those games have gotten any information. And it's kind of crazy to think about. We're so focused on the fact that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are iterative remakes of a game that in the trailer looked really samey, we're so focused on that, we're forgetting to mention that the next step in the Pokemon series is right on the heels of that. And we've gotten even less information about that.
I think I really love your idea of let's just push the entire timeline back. If I was big Mr. Man over at the Pokemon Company, I would say,
if you were big Pokemon,
if I was a Jebediah Pokemon and I was sitting at my desk, I would say, let's steal Nintendo's idea of 3D All-Stars, and let's, as quickly as we fucking can, press Fire Red, Crystal, and Emerald onto a Switch cart.
Sure.
Make that Masters Collection leak that we savagely capitalized on for views when it was out.
Forgot about that.
When it was obviously fake. Let's take that, make that the holiday release to have something there, so we can get our grubby hands on some cash, and fans can get the games they want on Switch, and then just give everything else time to breathe. Because you're right, Arceus is the next step for Pokemon.
Yeah.
if the rumors about that are to be believed, that it's kind of a completely different battle system and it's very different. I could see honestly this just becoming another Let's Go-esque offshoot
Yeah.
where it's Gen 9 is a lot more, it's a lot closer to Gen 8 than it is
Mhm.
to Legends Arceus. But I
Yes.
think that the ideal thing is that next holiday VDSP comes out. Holiday after that, Legends Arceus comes out. Because the bigger thing is that Diamond and Pearl nostalgia is probably the most potent nostalgia they're ever going to get to capitalize on, period.
Mhm.
That is the demographic of people our age who grew up with Diamond and Pearl, who have nostalgia for that game, is hot. And
Mhm.
it's going to be hot. And it's on the Switch, which is incredibly hot.
Yeah.
So that game is going to do huge. You don't need to have another Pokemon game within a year of that.
True. Yes.
So give everything the space it needs
Mhm.
when both of these games clearly aren't ready, and clearly that tweet is going to go down as one of the fucking funniest tweets Nintendo's ever put out. The same exact screenshots from before the game got updated.
Yeah.
That tells me that something is really wrong. And if something's really wrong, just acknowledge the fact that these games can wait and they can
Mhm.
be spread apart and they can be both better for it, because Pokemon Company cannot optically take another loss right now. And I just think that rushing the shit out at the end of the year is not the way you fix the reputation that the company's been getting.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I see Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus is this weird mishmash of giving us what we want while doing different things. They
Yeah,
sort of complement each other in a way that stretching them out as their own thing on each year, I don't think necessarily makes sense to them. We're not getting Gen 9. We're getting a
yeah,
very iterative remake by a different team and still Sinnoh, the next evolution of the Pokemon franchise. It's giving you exactly what you want in terms of a remake, but not doing anything special with it and doing something that's really experimental and special. So I think they want those to be close to each other to sort of appease every side that they
yeah,
can in a way that if it's only Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl in a year of Pokemon releases and people play it and like, wait, this is the same fucking thing as Diamond and Pearl, you just updated the visuals, that would be a pretty big tank for them in terms of optics. I mean, people will be enjoying it because it's Gen 4 nostalgia that they're capitalizing on. But I think there would be a noticeable dip in quality that they kind of want to say, nope, nope. But remember, this is coming soon. You're getting that next big Pokemon game on the heels of this. And it's related. It's all Sinnoh stuff. Gen 4 nostalgia sort of peaking right here. I think that's their mindset. And the reason that there's no fucking way in Sam Hell that they're separating those games by an entire year.
yeah. I mean, I just think that's a bad mindset, because
Mhm.
if your corporate strategy is the first game is not going to be good enough, so it's release the second one to appease the fans, well, then the first game is the problem.
Yes.
The antidote is not to release them both back to back.
Mhm.
And so the reason I keep saying let's delay and let's push is give Ilka time to integrate Mega Evolution,
Yeah.
or what are we doing? Let's not Dynamax ever again. Let's fucking, or Z move. Just do something. Give them, if you've got another 8 months of development. Okay, maybe we add another little post game area. Maybe we add some kind of Delta episode that's going to thematically connect to what Legends Arceus is going to
Yes.
be. I think that there's space, if you delay them, to bulk up the game more,
Mhm.
because if you remove from the urgency of time, make it what the fans want
Yeah.
when you know that the game is going to sell incredibly well. The Gen 4 remakes are the best olive branch the company had, and they're snapping it in half and using it to like fucking burn a marshmallow with. It's like, what are you doing? But I again, I think you're completely right. I think it's totally wishful thinking on my behalf, and that these games are going to be shuffled at the door together.
Yeah.
But my question is, are they shuffled out the door together
Now.
November
Yeah.
in March, or March in September?
Mhm.
And I'm
Did you
starting
say
to.
it was it's January
Oh
for
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Legends?
yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
that was my bad. You're right. It's either going to be 2 months apart this way, or is it going to be 2 months apart somewhere else? Because I
Yeah.
just don't. I think that if the game could be released, they would be showing it off more, because I don't think
Mhm.
that they benefit at all from not saying anything.
Yeah. I
So
I think hope my perfect middle ground is February and May. I think you
sure.
you give the games slightly more time to breathe from one another and more time, a month more, to give Arceus the more polished, because while BDSP is the one that I was most underwhelmed by, it doesn't need as much polish as Legends Arceus does,
Yeah.
because that one is way more important, and could be a lot better. All of this just I was underwhelmed by Sword and Shield in some ways. I do think we've had discussions about this. We had a great
Yeah.
stellar debate. It's a very peculiar game and where it sits in terms of steps forward, steps back, whatever for Pokemon. BDSP was the shot in the foot for me of them really clearly exploiting nostalgia in a way that I don't think is very exciting.
Yeah.
It just makes me think so much of, oh, if I were to make a Gen 4 game, I would do a mix between the remake and Legends Arceus. I think
Yeah.
there's so much potential for upgrading the things that Sinnoh did do uniquely with the Pastoria Great Marsh, with the Underground, with contests and Pal Park and all these things, expanding them out to be larger areas with a better online connectivity and incorporating Pokemon from other regions. There's so much potential here that they just have split. They've split this atom into two totally different things, where one is all the possibility and one is the nostalgia. It's a weird balance that I'm still excited for Legends Arceus, but the fact that we haven't seen anything from it could be good, but I'm kind of leaning towards it, like BSP being a little more worrisome.
Yeah, well, my thing is I'm not necessarily sure that Legends Arceus is the next step for the franchise. I feel like it's on paper, yes, but I think the next step for the franchise is the wild area, or the wild areas of the Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor, which I played and think are far better than the wild area of base.
Sure.
Sword and Shield, I really feel like Legends Arceus is a lot more experimental and non-important.
Sure.
Because it doesn't have the potency of a remake, nor does it seem like it has the material gameplay hooks that make the Pokemon game so compelling year after year, right? Even if the Pokemon series is very derivative, doesn't change the fact that it's really fun to have the turn-based battles and to fill up your Pokedex and everything the way that you usually do, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I was going to think about if I were to make the Gen 4 remake of my dreams, I agree that they're splitting the two different components, but I think that the thing that I would have done, which was the assumed thing to do, was just take Sinnoh and put it in the Sword and Shield engine.
Yes, exactly.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel completely. I think Sword and Shield already did it. They just did it poorly.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to do it better, to have the free camera and have these open areas and the overworld Pokemon in the context of a much stronger design framework,
Yeah,
and more experience with the engine to make the game look better and look prettier. Because the other thing is, part of the reason why I think Gen 5 is such a big improvement over Gen 4 graphically and technically is because you had the middleman of Heart Gold and Soul Silver to work out the kinks, right? And now you're just working in a bunch of fucking different engines, a bunch of different ideas and styles.
Yeah, sure.
So ultimately, is Gen 9 even going to be that big of an improvement over Gen 8 if you haven't been polishing that skill set with a remake, right, in the engine, or with a spinoff in the engine? So I don't know. I just think that the Pokemon Company all of a sudden is in the middle of a traffic jam and an identity crisis and a fucking dumpster fire all at once. So I will always be a Pokemon fan, even if I have to feel ashamed about it when the games come out and are mediocre. I'm still gonna play them. I'm still gonna probably enjoy them. But I just think that it's all just very weird. It's all very weird.
It'll be so much fun to look back at the Switch era for Pokemon games and just be like, what the fuck happened here, man? Presumably we'll get a Gen 9. Presumably there will be some other spin-offs, some other things, whatever it may be, maybe another Let's Go before the Switch is over. But Pokemon was so predictable in its cycle and its progression for 20 years. And now we hit Let's Go. Is that a main series game, or do we count it as its own thing? Will it make sequels to that? Are they remakes of other things? Gen 8 is clearly where things should go. It's taking some things from Let's Go. Okay, now we're going to introduce another team to make remakes that is entirely different. Arceus, that its own thing. I think you're right of the identity crisis. It could end up being good for the series. This
Yeah.
mixing pot of innovation and experimentation, whether that's casual things for Let's Go, introducing new teams with Ilka that can do B tier games, the openness and different gameplay of Legends Arceus. I just want them to try a bunch of shit, make it weird for a few years, funnel it back down, and bring everything down to what they should be doing, which is all focus on one game that will take all the different groups of Pokemon fans and make it one whole thing, one core center.
I agree completely. I will say, in spite of all of the uneven quality, at least they are trying things,
yes,
right?
100%.
So I totally agree that I hope that we come out the other side and they take all of the best parts of all of these games and they produce. Maybe that ends up being Gen X. It's fucking time for the big one, right?
Yeah.
So we could see, and I really hope you're right about that. I hope they don't treat these games as being throwaway the way they've treated ideas in the past, whether that's the Pokewalk or that's Soar or whatever. All of these great ideas that just kind of disappeared. Mm-hmm. So Tucker, my last question. Fucking put your marbles on the board and shoot them about. Mm-hmm. What's gonna happen? Your official prediction.
My official prediction for both these games?
Yeah. Of release dates.
Yes. They come out in the time slots that are currently planned, and both are underwhelming. In whatever regard it is. I think that the visuals all I can hope is the visuals for BDSP are the quality that they showed in that 2-second clip. And that'll be enough to appease me slightly. We can hope that there's a few interesting new mechanics and things that give their own identity. Yeah. That's kind of ideal. But that comes out, and that I just think that we're 2 weeks away from at least a trailer for that game.
Okay.
And then the game releases, and it's just, we look back and we're like, oh, isn't it weird that they didn't promote it? And it's not a big deal. Legends Arceus, I could see being pushed a month. I think it still comes out in that early slot because they want that synergy of those two games being sort of the Sinnoh duo, capitalizing on that peak hype for Sinnoh nostalgia. But that one I don't see being as polished, as good as it should be, and it should have more time. And we're going to look back and be like Sword and Shield, man, this should have had more time than the other. But I think it still comes out in that first 2-3 months of the year.
I think they both get delayed.
Yeah,
that's my official prediction is they both get delayed. I think the BDSP hits early 2022 and Legends Arceus hits maybe summer. That or fall.
I want you to be right. I want you to be right.
I just do not think that you fundamentally update the game with the level that you are, and then you promote it using outdated material and suggest that the game is still going to come out on time. I just really think that something is afoot here, and that the only recourse is to push the game. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
We'll see.
There's also no stakes. So here's the thing: there's no stakes to this. So if anything, I look really cool if I end up being right. You know.
I just kind of look like a pessimistic asshole if I'm right, although I'll end up being accurate if I'm right. Like, I'll just be like, we'll both be like, he was right. I guess I'll get some sort of vindication to be like, haha, I was right, but also be like, damn, I was right. Shit.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll obviously be reviewing both these games.
Yes, very clearly.
If they release a trailer that is even 15 seconds long, we'll be reacting to it.
We will, and I think it'll be interesting to follow these games, their progression, because we're making a discussion like this. Usually, I wish to the love of God that in the time of BLB, we get a normal Pokemon hype cycle to cover. Reacting to gameplay elements and new Pokemon, the trailers and the reveals and all of that. I love that stuff. I love it so much. And we started BLB between Sword and Shield and fucking BDSP, and it's just the weirdest era of Pokemon news that's ever existed.
The good news, Tucker, is that this series is the largest multimedia franchise in the world, and the Pokemon Company has no scruples about iteration. So this time next year, we'll be doing exactly what you're saying.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
There we go.
We'll see you guys in a year.
Gotta catch them all. You know what I'm saying?